So talk to me about being on that bus. What do you remember the day clearly? Do you remember exactly what was happening? Do you remember where you were sitting? Walk me through that journey.
Yeah, I think probably one of the most harrowing things is that I do actually remember every single last bit of it. And I've never really disclosed the story like in all of its glory, really. Like my family and friends I do, but this is probably like the first time publicly where I'll go into the depths of the ins and outs of it. But I remember it was our end of year summer vol, so I literally had my last exam the day before. So I finished that, gone shower, and I'm like, this is the summer starts. And the first summer at university, I'm buzzing. Like, everything's gonna take off this summer. And it was the Six Nations, not the Six Nation, it was the Lions tour in rugby. And we met in a pub called the Hop and Kildren at like 8 o'clock in the morning, because obviously it was on New Zealand time. So we're in there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and end of the season's done, the uni year's done. So we're just in there having a few beers. Like the whole rugby cohort was there, and just having a few jars, had some breakfast, and then one of the boys was like, right, let's go back to, because we was all in fancy dress. There's a couple of funny stories regarding the fancy dress, but we was all in fancy. We've gone back to one of the seniors' house, Ed James, his name was, and we've all got into our attire, and we was going as Aboriginals at the time. So it's literally like, and again, I didn't really have a body for budgie smugglers, but I'm standing there with a pair of budgie smugglers on and a stencil of the rugby club crest on my chest. So not ideal garms to be collapsing in, so to speak. But anyway, we start walking along, and then it's a known thing. I don't know whether it still is now, but it was when I was there, that every summer ball, the main pre-drinks or where everyone gets together is in the courtyard of one of the halls called Purbeck. So as we're walking there, I've just started like shuddering, like falling forward, and I was just holding on, like I'm holding onto a wall, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I'm holding onto it, and as I'm holding onto the wall, like my legs I can't feel my legs at all, and it was like, fuck, like I'm banging trouble here, and I had no idea what was happening or nothing. So I've just stood there, I've sat there, I've held on, and after seconds at this point, after a few seconds, my legs have come back. So in my head, I've just been like, well, I'm a bit dehydrated, let me put the beer down and let's have some water. And I kept walking, and no problem. And then we get into Purbeck, the halls where the prees, there's hundreds and hundreds of people there. And me, that always fancies myself as a bit of class clown, like to be the funny guy, I'm in the middle of everyone doing the worm. And not a very good worm at that either. I was just attempting to do a worm, trying to be funny. And I remember that I'll never forget the fact that I couldn't finish the worm. And it was 3 or 4 times that I tried before in my head it was like, something's not right here. So I'm doing it, and just my top half's moving. So then one of the seniors, Danny Patrick's, just pulled me up onto a salt bin, and I'm sat on a salt bin at this point, and I'm like, something's not right here. But still, being amongst all the boys, being half cut, I was just like, I'll be all right. So now I've sat on a salt bin again. I haven't had no beer since the first episode, so I'm still drinking the water, and then it's come back again. So I'm like, oh, it's all right, I'm fine. But at this point, I should have done something there or thereabouts. But because a week prior, when we was talking about we had Bournemouth Sevens, and I took a big hit on the Sunday. And because I was a tough guy, the one that just got on with it, I left the pitch and I was like, it's just a bit of a dead hip. So I was like, it's fine, everyone's going, let's go see physio. And no, I'm all right, I'm good. So then fast forward a week, all of that's happened, and I'm sat on this salt bin, and I'm like, right, what am I doing here? And I've just sat, and I've let the boy in me take over, and I'm going, right, let's crack on. As soon as it come back, let's crack on with the day. So we've now walked round to the fire station where you get the bus to go to the summer ball. Now, as I'm getting on the bus, this one of the security guards has gone like, I don't know if you're going to get in the other end, because I was being a class clown, I was joking about, I think they was at the end of their wits with me on that particular day. And I've gone like, no, don't worry, I'll get on. So I've run to the top of the back of the bus, and I've managed to get on, and he's not seen me, the bus is pulling away. I'm like boom, quid's in. But the thing was, in order to do that, I had to leave all my mates. So I'm like to the boys, I see you up there, and I've just jumped on, gone to the back hidden and stay there. And then we keep going in, and then we're driving, and as we come into Chapelgate in Bournemouth, it's like sort of a road that comes in and you go round, and there's like little speed bumps on the way. And on went over one of the speed bumps, and I was like, ouch. Like, it was like the most excruciating. It was like someone was ripping my spine, like with their hands, either side of my spine, and just ripping it sideways, like from the inside out sort of thing. And I explain it as my legs started filling up with concrete. Like, they started filling up with concrete, and I could not move them. I couldn't pick them up. I couldn't move them. I couldn't do nothing. And before I noticed it, it's just starting going up. This feeling's going further and further up my body, and I couldn't do anything. So on the bus, they got them big bars with the stop buttons, and I've tried to pull myself up onto that. And as I've done that, I've just collapsed, and my whole body's just emptied. So everything just shut down. So I couldn't sit up. I couldn't do nothing. My bladder and bowels just left me. Like, everything had just completely. And that was when I was like, I'm banging trouble here. But before I pulled myself up, I let everyone get off the bus. So I'm laying on the bus, and the bus driver's come up with a security guard. And the security guard looked at me, and he's gone, it's McGarry, he's probably pulling our leg. He's like, leave him, he'll be off in a minute. So they went off, they left me on the bus, thought I was joking, laying in the middle of a bus, just like, with no. And then anyway, about 10 minutes later, the same geezer come back and was like, you're not all right, are you? I was like, no, I'm in a world of trouble here. But the crazy thing was, where I was so worried and so panicked and I had no idea what was going on, I didn't have no pain. Like, I had no pain for something that as serious as what was happening. I had no pain. I was almost numb to it. And then, then they cut the top of the bus off, cut the top of the back of the bus off, winched me down on like a zip line sort of thing, straight into the back of an ambulance. And then I went off to Paul Hospital, and after I was in there for about 5 minutes, they was like, we can't deal with this. This is too serious for us. And then I got lifted to Southampton.
Helicopter?
Southampton Hospital, where I stayed for about 6 weeks before getting moved on to a spinal unit at Salisbury.